Talking now with Shelton School District Superintendent Wyeth Jessee. Hello, sir.
Hey, Jeff.
So the election results came out from Tuesday night, and as of now, the Shelton School District levy is passing with 61% of the vote. More ballots are being counted by the Mason County Auditor's Office, but I think this probably is a relief to you and to the staff across the district that the community is buying into what you're putting out there.
Yeah, I agree with that statement, right? Like you're a taxpayer, you're sitting there going, am I gonna put my money and invest in what the product is for the Shelton School District? We happen to be in the business of educating students, and we're getting really good outcomes, and I think we're building that trust. So when they trust what we're doing, they're more likely to support with their pocketbook the work that we're doing.
Large concerted support effort out there, lots of sign waivers, and you always see the sign waivers kind of on intersections there. And some of the intersections they're at are near gas stations. And we had talked a little bit about how people sometimes are correlating whether or not their tax dollars should go towards the levy or they save those dollars into being able to help, buy gas, no gas, maybe you can't afford food, things like that. So some people in our community really had to make a decision on that.
Yeah, I think that's the real truth. That's out there. Those are the experts, the people who do this business, that are financial analysts, you know, putting together packages for bonds and levies. The DA Davidsons of the world, right? And they are like, yeah, the number one correlation. They run all these studies. Are like number one correlation between passing more levies passing is the price of gasoline. And so I have been commenting about that with folks just to have their awareness that, a lot of people are just trying to make it by day to day, and they got to put gas in the car to get to a job, whatever that may be. And when gas prices are high, that can take 20, what Jeff, like, depending on kind of car you drive, but if you're driving a big pickup truck, you can get very good gas mileage, and it costs a lot more.
Yeah.
30 $35 even. The difference is that huge fluctuation from a low, which it's been recently, to some of those highs. I think it almost got to $5, didn't it, at one point, like last
pretty
5 years.
close.
So, like, those are huge swings. And when you don't have a lot of money and you're trying to get by in the monthly bills, yeah, that's what you're thinking about. Where am I putting my money? And I know that's a tough decision for folks. I know I am. Many people are very thankful for those people who continue to support the students here in the Shelton School District. It is the future of this town. We are understanding about economic mobility, equipping our kids so they can make a living wage. It is tough out there. I think people who might even say they have a living wage understand what it's like right now. It's feeling the pinch, no matter what some of the talking heads say.
There was not just Mason County levies all across the state. I think you mentioned at one of our interviews, all but just a handful of districts were renewing basically on this election this past February 10th. And from the numbers I'm reading across the state, all but 10 or 20, maybe less, have look to come out on the positive side of things after the first ballot have been counted. What do you attribute to that, especially with some of the rhetoric over the last few years and some of the tighter elections even the district has had?
Well, this again is economic tough time. These are tough times for a lot of places. And so you can't take anything for granted, and you got to work for it. And the work that we've been doing here in the Shelton District isn't just about whether you're going out there and campaigning for a levy. That is going to end up, I think, a turnoff for a lot of people when they go, well, again, what am I getting back in return? What is this What am I investing in? Are you taking my taxpayer dollars and providing access and opportunity for students? And so, again, we're number one in the state for early literacy growth. We've increased the number of students who are on track to graduate. We have 3 students over at Evergreen State tuition free. The year before we had 4. Like, 77% decrease in discipline. You know, there's a lot of history, and I think those are things, Jeff, that go into a lot of people. When we have in-depth conversation with people who want to be critical around public education or the Shelton School District, they may have their own individual story. When I engage with them and we start walking through, hey, what's their concern or a bigger issue? Majority of the time they come out on side feeling better educated, and I think in greater support of what we're trying to do here in the Shelton School District. Other districts, that there are lot of student performance numbers are flat. That's been a real challenge, and so you've got to again demonstrate outcome for the return on investment. What are the outcomes you're able to get? I think it's good here. We got a lot more work to do, so I am not to shy away from that part. But Jeff, all those videos, the conversations, the performances at a variety of events sees what our students are able to perform. That speaks volumes. That's somebody's kid, grandkid, neighbor. They're able to say, past the rhetoric of Wyeth Jessee as superintendent, to, hey, these are actually really cool things kids are doing, and they're doing it in amazing ways. I want to be part of that investment, part of the Shelton School District, the community, and get behind these kids.
So a breath of relief today, but as you mentioned, the work continues. What does this next, I guess, stability for the next 3 years offer you and your administrators across the schools to be able to future plan? Not only for the, because we talked too about how if this hadn't have passed, you would have already started to have tough conversations about the start of this next school year. So that can be pushed off. Everything else can kind of be pushed off, and you can start kind of future forecasting some different things.
I got to take this opportunity, Jeff, to say, passing this levy, the difference between passing this levy and not passing this levy is, whether I don't know what the right phrasing would be. I just want to make sure everybody understands this listening is like, it would be so devastating is not a light term if we didn't pass it, because that would have been the cut to 100+ employees, all the programs and services, the mental health supports, assistant principals, front office staff. I mean, like art, the programs, DECA, athletics, like it just goes on, right? Like our ability to even fix a heat pump. Like the margins are that narrow. People, why don't you have all this money in savings? Because it's hard to just get by and provide basic ed year in, year out. And when the voters voted this last couple weeks and they said, I'm behind it, and it's 61%, which is a very great number for communities just like us. And you can look at all those numbers across the state. That's really good. We're above the average in the passing rate. People that want to support the Shelton School District. Now I can accelerate. I can build off all of this progress, and we can continue to do the hard work on behalf of kids. But if it's the other way, you're just in survival mode, and it's not just survival mode for a year. Even if you were to come back in the fall and pass it, you've already let go of a lot of people, and the talented, some of your most talented people, they leave and they're not coming back because they're the ones that most likely to get a job.
Right.
So, we got a great team here. We want to keep that, and keep building on the work. But when, a lot of people, you have to upend the apple cart and you try to put things back together. The pieces don't fall right back together so quickly. It would take years to resolve those situations. So for me, it's a huge sigh of relief. We're able to progress forward. Like, I'm just excited a lot about student leadership. And I'm really excited about looking at math coming up here in the near future for us, and building on some of these litter scores. The work's still not done. We got to get over 50% of our students at or above grade level. That is a true marker right now in the near term for the Shelton School District, and this levy will allow us to continue that work.
I saw a post the other day that said current assistant principal for the high school, Jordan Stray, is going to be the new principal at Shelton High School this upcoming school year. Bruce has put in a lot of hard work at the district since he's been there. I've gotten a chance to know Jordan well over these last couple years, interviewing her for different things that she does with the academies and things like that. What's the process? What did the process look like on that, and why was she a good fit for the position?
Sure. Just first on Bruce, uh, really thankful to have a veteran administrator show up during COVID, take on a comprehensive high school. He really helped get it into shape. I think he is a guy that can really is a change agent. He's somebody that comes in, gets things in systems and working in the same direction. They've had some really good outcomes with kids and leadership. He really has high expectations for everyone. I love it. He's done a really good job, and we should be very thankful. I know it's not I know a lot of people want to say, why didn't he do this, that, or whatever? But at the same time, you got 1,400 kids on a campus and a lot of people going in different directions. When I got here, there was like, I don't know, 25, 30 kids out at the Huff and Puff every given day. And I don't even know what's out exactly in the parking lot. That is no longer the case. That alone. Come watch a performance. Come see how many teams in athletics and the clubs and going to national events, Thespian or DECA. Yeah, it's crazy. So it's really good things, right? Like, we've got to measure it by the outcomes. You might not like all the decisions, but the outcomes for kids are good. Jordan Stray is an absolutely great fit to be the next person. We're very lucky to have her. Jordan is very well liked. She's going to take on SHS and take it to the next level. That's, again, where we're at as a district. Taking it to the next level. What's the next best thing we can do to improve ourselves on behalf of students? Jordan is that person at SHS. I personally talked to her at length about what she sees are some short-term and some long-term goals for the school. Where is it going to go? And we did absolutely see eye to eye. And I'm again really excited about having Jordan be fortunate. The pool for administrators out there is low. The Shelton School District, especially here with having Jordan in-house and growing our own, is a really good place for us to be compared to other districts who I think are fighting for any semblance of talent to come lead schools.
Well, a couple of good news notes there for folks out there today as we saw the numbers come through in the election. Not yet been certified. We'll make a note on that one. They will still continue to count the votes, but I think as I look at the numbers and the margins, it looks like it's, very, very well. And like you said, 61 is outperforming a lot of the other districts across the state here in the days after the first ballot count. So we'll keep our eyes on that one from the auditor's office, but that's a whole nother conversation to have with him. Good news there with Jordan as well as the new principal. So we'll leave it there. Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, voters, and thank you, Jeff.